that it's easy to draw it in to our aura, into our environment, and re-experience it. It's almost like something in you. It's like a magnet,
Yes.
right? And we have to take the time that is necessary to go all the way back further than our earliest experience and start looking at patterns in our families. So there's something that somebody introduced to me just very recently, and it talks about the exiles within our psyche. The exiles within our psyche are the parts of us that have experienced trauma. And just as the word suggests, we exile those parts of us into a very, very dark place, a very, very
Yes.
far place. And we create managers or guards to prevent these exiled parts of us from coming out. And what happens is that when we receive those triggers, then these parts of us surprise us and we don't know what to do with them. So I invite everybody, as I'm on the journey doing, to take the time to sit down, think about it, process it, look at it not just from an individual, but also from a generational perspective. And that way you know exactly what to do to break that cycle.
That was so good. That was so good. I love that. I love that so much. And here's the thing, when you start embracing those parts of yourself, it's like you're coming home. I don't know if you've ever had an experience where you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm at home in my body. I feel like I am home. I feel like I'm myself, because before I felt separate from myself. I totally get what she's talking about.
Yeah, and those exiled parts, let me see, is my mic still on? Yeah.
Yes.
So those exiled parts of us, it's a three-part system that we use to just live. So we have the exiles, the parts of us that have experienced trauma. Then we have the managers, the parts of us that we develop to protect those exiles and to create normalcy in our lives. And then we have that third part, who are the firefighters. So the firefighters are the ones where, I mean, just think of if fire happens in your stove, catches on fire, immediately you're going to think, what can I do? Water,
Yes.
A towel, sand. You immediately, and there's no real thought process that goes into it.
It's
In the
just
same
trick.
way, exactly. In the same way, we have psychological firefighters. So like if we're having this conversation and then somebody's remembering something that happened to them, immediately the person is like, hey, what's happening on TV right now? Hey, it's sunset already. Hey, I'm so tired. That's a firefighter. All right? That's a firefighter. Another person might have a manager that say, well, that happened to my mother, but that didn't happen to me. And, I'm over that already. So the manager is going to ensure that you rationalize it and that exile stays where it is. Doesn't re-experience the pain, the emotional pain. So here's what, as Geraldine was saying, here's what you can do. It's important to earlier somebody was talking about being gentle, saying, she had to learn to just be kind to herself, to just be gentle to herself. And so it's important to have compassion on the exiles. And how do you do that? The exiles, you cannot get to them without going through your managers. And so you literally talk to your manager and say, listen, I know you're trying to protect that part of me. Right? I know you're trying to protect that part of me, but can you just give me a chance to talk to little Shanter here? Let me talk to the Shanter that felt rejected. Just give me a moment to talk with the Shanter that really doesn't want to think about maybe how treated her. Just give me a chance to talk with her. But thank you for protecting her all these years.
Wow.
And then you take some time and you say, hey, Shanter, I want to talk with you. Wani, I want to talk with you. I want to talk with you. I know that you don't want to think about all those painful experiences you've had, but let's talk, right? And how can I make you feel stronger to come out of the cave once in a while?
Yeah.
What sent you into that cave? Well, it
Mhm.
was this. It was when my mother did this. It was when my boyfriend or my husband or my wife did that. It was this experience when I thought others said this. And you go through each of these one at a time.
Right.
You have a conversation and show self-compassion. And then if that exile wants to go back into the cave, you say, okay, because guess what? The minute you've had that conversation with that exile and the manager stood back,
You
the
will never be the
exile
same.
has no need to
Yes.
go so far. There is greater accessibility,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? So self-compassion is the key, and every part of us is important. Our firefighters protect us.
Yes.
Our managers maintain structure, and our exiles are a part of our true self.
In order for you now to move forward and move differently, because
One word of caution I want to share with everyone who wants to do this type of self-work. There are some things that we just cannot walk through ourselves.
Mhm.
And so you want to ensure that if you are going to be doing this work, that you have somebody, a trusted and safe individual who can be there if you are to trigger a trauma that is too overwhelming for you to pull yourself out of.
Yes.
So you have to have a safe person, because there are certain parts of ourselves that we have exiled so far, and there is good reason,
Yeah.
right? There is good reason. It's like when you hit your head or you're in an accident and you pass out. It is the body's way of protecting you from pain. There are certain
Yes.
things that we have experienced that we do not remember because the body is just so beautifully constructed. So before you do that type of self-work, I'd advise very strongly that you work with somebody on it. Jerry, I'm going to be, I'm looking at such and such in my life. I don't know where it's going to take me. I want to know if either one, you can help me through it,
Mhm.
or you can be prepared when I call you at 1 o'clock in the morning and say, Jerry, I cannot sleep. I am not okay.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
am not okay, because trauma is not easy. It's like an allergy. Those of you who have allergies, I'm allergic to mushrooms and bees. So I carry an EpiPen. And one of the reasons I carry an EpiPen is because the first time a bee stings me, nothing might happen. I might just get swollen. But the next time a bee stings me, I may drop to the ground dead, right? My throat might close in. You just don't know how you're going to respond to the trauma.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's why you have to be so very careful and don't walk into that